All right, so in this episode, we're going to be talking about enjoying the journey and the challenges that come with that. But overall, you should be looking to enjoy the journey. Otherwise, what are you doing this for? And with that, let's cue the intro.
This podcast is for singers who have music in their soul and want to be in the spotlight. We are INVICTA Vox Radio.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of INVICTA Vox Radio, where, as always, we are your hosts, Mike and
Angie Lee.
And a long time ago, we had a mentor that sat us down, and he was like, you know what? Like, you need to enjoy the journey. If you're not enjoying the process, if you're not enjoying the journey, then what are you doing in this? Which, after a decade of sitting on that and thinking about it, I agree with it. And I also disagree with it. So
Yeah.
I want to hear kind of your thoughts on enjoying the journey because, yeah, if you're miserable, then clearly you're not on the right path, right? And I have heard from many people that deal with the mind that you actually need to make the rewarding part of any endeavor not the actual result, but the process within it. So
Yeah, well, so the mentor that told us that was actually one of my producers, and I'm a very ambitious person, and as a musician was very, very ambitious for a long time, and I was so stressed out. We're in the process of making this album. We'd signed a record contract and like all this stuff, and I was always stressed out all the time, and I wanted everything to work out and be perfect, and what if it doesn't? And I've invested so much time and energy and money into this. What if? And he just looked at me and he said, you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know if it's going to be successful. You don't know if, it's going to be, quote, worth it. He said, so why don't you just enjoy the ride? Because if you don't enjoy the process of creating the music, the process of getting yourself out there, the process of doing all that, then what's the point? Because there is no guarantee on the end of anything. There's no guarantee on life. In any aspect of your life. So why are you putting yourself through so much stress and anxiety and pain to get somewhere that you don't even know if you're going to get to?
yeah, and that's for sure, right? That you need to actually enjoy the process.
Well, and set yourself up to have success, but also have the mindsets along the way to make sure that you are actually enjoying what you set out to do. Make sure that the goal you're working towards is something you actually want, and that you actually enjoy achieving it. That doesn't mean it's always going to be sunshine and rainbows, and that it's not going to be hard, and that you don't have to work hard.
Well, but that's what I want to kind of illustrate, right? Like, yes, enjoy the journey on a macro level, but there's also multiple types of fun, right? There's fun that you enjoy in the moment. Right? Like,
this is Mike's fun scale.
No, this is actually a thing because we've had this conversation. Because I go backpacking, or I haven't for a while, but I love going backpacking, and we always talk about these different kinds of fun. So there's fun that you have in the moment that you enjoy. Then there's what's called like type 2 fun. Where it's not necessarily fun in that moment
because you're working your butt off,
but you look back on it fondly, and it's fun to remember it.
That's your backpacking.
And then there's this other kind of fun, I can't remember where it's just like it's not fun, but you can like make fun of it or something.
I think that's like type 3.
But anyways, so you have to kind of look at it on that level. Like when one time we were backpacking and we're just going back to the car, it is raining like crazy. We didn't even bother putting ponchos on. I'm soaked. Every ounce of my body is soaked. My boots are soaked, everything. And lightning's hitting everywhere. But then when we get back, it's like, oh, that was kind of cool. That was a cool experience. It wasn't always like fun in that moment, but it was a cool experience to look back on. And I think there's a lot of parts of your journey that are going to be like that. And so in the moment, if you're not having fun, sometimes like when you're in songwriting and you come up with a great idea, or you are able to produce a song and it comes out great, in those moments, I think that there's magic. Yeah, and it's very enjoyable in that moment, right? It's that type 1 where you're actually enjoying it as you're sitting there.
Yeah.
Like being in the recording studio, hanging out with your band.
Going and doing shows. Playing
Yeah,
shows is huge.
like all those things are fun, but then there's the grind part of the journey where there are frustrations and things like that. But I think the way that you enjoy that process more is to look back on where you've come more frequently.
Yeah.
Because once you see like, okay, this resulted in this, then it makes it easier to enjoy those little times where it's like, man, this kind of sucks in the moment.
Well, and sometimes those times last a little longer. The grind can be very real, and hustling can be very real, and understanding that you're trying to achieve those things. But it's having those benchmarks along the way to celebrate and to enjoy, and looking for the type 1 fun and the type 2 fun so that you can really understand the journey and have a good time making music and getting to where you want to go. But yeah, no great achievement comes without pain. And so just understand that that's part of it and that's okay. But what we don't want is to be in perpetual stress and anxiety and in perpetual pain without enjoying the highlights. So if you're constantly just downtrodden and depressed and not enjoying any of it and you hate it, well, then you need a course correction.
Right.
That's not it. That's not the point. The point is to make the music you love, have those magical moments, and then get into the grind of being an entrepreneur, which also can be very, very rewarding as things come to fruition. And having those highlights of those moments of just joy and bliss and fun. So make sure that you have a really good balance of that. Because if you are in the depths of despair all the time, we need to reevaluate what you're doing.
Yeah.
And make sure that the goal that you've set out for yourself is actually the one that you want. Because sometimes people will set those big audacious goals that are really incredible and their targets are out in front of them and they're working towards it. And along the way, they change as humans, or the music changes, or the project changes, and they don't realize that they need to set a different target. They need to set a different goal out in front of them to course correct where they have shifted as a human. And they try to stay in a line with the original target or goal.
Right.
And I think that can cause a lot of friction too. I think that's where a lot of that anxiety and that strain and that pressure comes from, is trying to stay on that exact path and not saying, oh, you know what? I still have this amazing goal out in front of me and I still want to make this music and I still want to do this, but maybe I need to nudge it a little bit to the left or the right, or up or down and backwards. So just being aware of yourself and aware of your project and what you really want to get, and understanding that those things can change. We don't have to be concrete. And if you can do that, then you can have a lot of joy and happiness along with the pain and the growth and the success.
Yeah. I 100% agree. And I think that also, so in our last episode, right, I said everybody's on a clock. Like once you release music, people are typically on this clock where if they don't hit certain benchmarks and don't see progress, then they give up. And I think a lot of that comes from the first part of the journey being mostly type 1 fun. You're excited to write songs in the beginning. You're excited to create and produce your first album.
When you have a lot of beginner's luck, like out the gate, everything seems like it's working and it's awesome and everybody's excited.
Well, but everything's new and everything's fun and everything's exciting. You're starting to play shows with your band. And all these things are really cool. And then you release your music and you're just thinking, okay, I'm on cloud 9. This is all like type 1 fun.
I'm getting some really cool gigs and all this. Yeah.
Right. And then you see that people don't listen to your music the way you thought they would. And then you keep getting the same people showing up to your shows.
And maybe you're not getting as many plays or shares that you were thinking you were going to get.
And so your move is to just go back again and do what you did before to create that type 1 fun in your journey. Right? Where it's like, okay, I'm going to go back. I'm just going to write more songs, record more stuff, film a music video, because all these things are like fun and cool. And then I think that's part of what perpetuates that cycle, instead of going, okay, now I need to find joy in the next part of this journey.
Yeah.
Instead of just going back to what has been fun. It's like, I need to learn to enjoy this next portion of it and turn that into a game and just learn to love it.
Yeah, and not be afraid of the friction that comes and the disfluency that comes with doing something that you don't know or understand. Because, having to learn something new and not having beginner's luck on your side is really hard to do, and it can be really straining. So that's that, diving in and making sure that you're on target, but that you understand that it's not all sunshine and rainbows all the time.
Yeah.
But we can celebrate all the things we've done and where we've come from and work towards bigger and greater things.
But that's why, like Angie was saying, the biggest and most important thing is, do you enjoy it as a whole?
Yeah.
And if not, do you need to shift things a little bit?
Mm-hmm. So that you don't give up. Because if you stay in that pit for too long, you will give up. And a lot of times people do that, and it's not because they're not good enough or because they don't really want to be a musician anymore. It's just because things aren't working and they don't know how to course correct and find the joy in it and have shifts in their mentalities and shifts in the way they see the world. So it's really allowing yourself the space to be able to do that and to reevaluate where you're at and always in pursuit of what you really want. Because I promise you, if you get to the point of burnout and you let go of it and you move on from it, it's going to come back to haunt you in 10 years. And you're going to have to do it again, or you're going to have to bury a piece of yourself. So just understand that and find the balance as much as you possibly can in celebrating the wins, having the type 1 fun and the type 2 fun of in the moment and looking back fondly, and being aware of where your target is so that if we need to make course corrections to keep you on the path that you want to be on and also enjoying the journey, that's the game.
I think you nailed it. Okay, and with that, what is the question of the day?
So where are you at in your journey? Are you still in like the beginning part where it's just everything's kind of like blissful and amazing and everything's working? Or are you in the grind part where things are starting to not be fun anymore? Or are you somewhere in the middle? Where have you found yourself with, are you enjoying the journey or not? And if you're not, where can we make a course correction? Is it your target that needs to change? Is it the way you're just looking at it that needs to change? Is it maybe the people that you're surrounded yourself with? Maybe you need to find different people to help you. What is it about your journey that's giving you the anxiety and stress and pressure that isn't allowing you to move meaningfully? And where can you change that?
Yep. All right, guys. Well, again, if you found this episode helpful in any way, shape, or form, please leave a review, rate and review the podcast. That always helps us and will help other artists just like you.
Yes. We love you.
Yeah, we love you. And until next time, peace.